So when I dove into like all the marketing, like I had other agencies that were running my inbound stuff. Like I was spending money in PPL, direct mail, call calling. I'm like, this is just like way too complex. Like I just need to simplify the business. So I remember like I have this book behind me, Alex Ramos's $100 million leads, and I love this book because he talks about when he figured out how to use Facebook ads. So I had used Facebook ads with outsourced through an agency before, but I would see the ads and I was like, I think I can make this myself. Like I think I can actually learn this. And a lot of what the gurus and coaches tell you is to outsource this. But my point is like, why would you outsource one of the most important levers in the business? If you don't outsource sales, why would you do your marketing as well?
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Investors Club podcast. I'm your host, Marco Cabrera, and today we have a special guest, Fidel Guajardo. Now, he's a real estate investor and entrepreneur from South Texas who's absolutely killing the game with this company, RGV Home Buyers. Now, they're pulling in 100,000 to 250,000 per month while spending less than 10 grand on marketing, all through inbound Facebook ads, which is crazy. Now, he also runs Lead Lift Marketing, helping other real estate investors scale their business while using ads instead of cold calls or outdated outreach. Now, we're going to dive into how he built his system, how he's scaling smart, and how you can do the same. Fidel, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
No,
Excited to
thank
be
you.
here.
Yeah, awesome, bro. I mean, I think we were talking through Instagram, right? And then I'm like, I got to get this guy on here.
Yeah. It was an Instagram. But yeah, things are going good. Crushing, trying to scale, doing things right.
Nah, awesome, man. So how's the weather out in South Texas?
It's getting a little chilly now, so we've been
Define
lucky.
chilly, because I'm from Jersey, bro. So
uh,
chilly is cold, you know.
70, 80 degrees.
That's summertime for us,
Yeah,
bro.
it's better than 100 degrees, that's for sure. But it's
No,
getting
yeah, yeah,
a little bit cooler, which
absolutely.
is
But
good.
I mean, Southern Texas, you guys get like a lot of dry heat, right?
Dry, like humid too.
Oh
So
yeah,
you can go outside because like you just start like sweating so much.
I sweat on a regular, so I can imagine like being in that heat.
Yeah.
No, man, but thank you for coming on. Let's get right to it, bro. Why don't we talk about your early stages, like from the beginning, before the big numbers, before the big marketing systems? Like, how was your life like?
Yeah. So when I got into real estate, I would say this guy, Ryan Pineda, may know who he is,
Absolutely.
but he would always say, okay, you can flip houses, make 20, 25K. So I always knew that I was going to get into real estate, whether it was like rentals, you see a lot of stuff on YouTube, build wealth through real estate, all those things. So I started around, do you want me to go before the real estate or right
Yeah,
into it?
like I want to know before you got into real estate, like what were you doing, and then we'll talk about how you got into it.
Okay. So I pretty much had like every job. So like in college, I was a server. I did that for like 2, 3 years.
Mhm.
And then when I graduated college, I went to school in Austin. I needed to find a job, so I had to move back home. So I started as a car salesman. I did that for around 2 years. And being in that business, like it teaches you how to talk to people, but then I really realized that I was not meant to be in that place. I would get to work and be like, "Oh, what am I doing here?" So there was always something that was like brewing inside me that like I had to get out of there. So I did that for 2 years. And then that's when I started seeing like everything with the real estate. So then I left that job. And then my first entrepreneurship like taste, I had a meal prep delivery business that I ran for like a year. So that was kind of like my starting entrepreneurship. And then I started selling solar, and I did that for 2 years,
Mhm.
and that spiked up like my entrepreneurial kind of side, and be like, hey, you can sell, make commissions, do stuff like that. But then it wasn't until 2022 where I was seeing like all this stuff from like these other people that were crushing in real estate, and I'm like, well, I'd rather just do that. So I paid for like my first mentorship with Ryan, and we started flipping houses. And the funny thing is, like, right when I started and I bought my first couple houses, that's when the interest rates just like shot up to 7%.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
that's
And
rough.
I guess we can talk about that. But yeah, I started just kind of watching a lot of the people that were crushing it. and that's kind of what sparked the interest in just diving more into real estate.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, starting fresh from college, becoming a server, car salesman, that's a lot, right? That kind of teaches you, I'm sure, all those skills that you learned from like serving people to being able to close a deal through sales, starting your own business, a meal prep. I'm sure that all prepped you to get into real estate, especially the world of wholesaling. Now, quick question. Now, entrepreneurship, was that something that ran in your family? Like what made you want to get into that world?
I've always I always felt like inside of me that I was meant just to do something, because whenever I had a boss, whenever I had a boss and I was dependent on other people, like it never felt right with me. I just had this like deep desire inside of me that I was meant just to do something else and just push through and better myself. So I feel like I've always had that.
Mhm.
My dad, like he was an entrepreneur. He had his businesses in Mexico, um, and I think that might have sparked like a little bit of like me wanting to do things my way.
Yeah.
But ever since I can remember, I felt like that was like rooted inside of me to do this.
Yeah, I think that's the first sign that we all have, right? Like when we just can't deal with our bosses. Like I
Yeah,
feel like every entrepreneur we interview, when I ask them a question like this, they're all like, "Yeah, I just couldn't stand being there. Like I knew there was more. I knew needed to be out there and making my own paycheck." So that's awesome, bro. So do you still have those businesses like the meal prep, or did you shut it down and went straight into real estate?
yeah, I shut everything down, went straight into real estate. So like when I decide to do something, I go all in. So I remember I was making around six figures when I was selling solar, and I was like, okay, like I need to quit this and go all in into real estate. So like in the beginning, I would just watch like every video, um, and like any of the past recordings, like all like I got all the knowledge that I could, and then I started taking action, which I think it's the one of the main things that differentiate from other people, like your ability to take action. So, like I was saying earlier, like I knew that I was going to make this work no matter what. So all I had to do was just put in the time, put in the work,
Yeah.
and just stay disciplined and consistent with all that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. The fact that you're making so much money, six figures is good, right? And you could provide for yourself, you could provide for your family, but you knew that there was more. And I think a lot of people that our listeners are actually wanting to get into real estate. They have a job, they think it's secure when they realize, well, you can get fired the next day. But they don't understand the amount of work that it takes. Like here you are, solar, right? So you're selling. If you don't show up, you don't make any money. So you're putting in the work to make six figures. That's not easy. Yeah. On top of that, you're learning the business of real estate. Like it's going to take extra work for you to reach that goal that you want for yourself. So explain how that came about. Like you're working full time for solar, and when did you find the time to learn about real estate?
Yeah. So one thing is always we always understood how long it's going to take and the amount of work it's actually going to take, because going into this, like I'll be honest, like even though I have that belief, like I was so naive that as to how this business, like the real estate, was going to humble you,
Mhm.
because there's so many things that you need to do right.
Yeah,
So like in the beginning, I just had that belief that I had to do this. And when it comes to kind of making the decision, I feel like what holds a lot of people back is, number one, like everyone talks about the mental state, but I think it's like the most important thing, because if you see the people that are having success, and if you don't believe that you can do it, like you will never make it, just because like what it requires, it requires a lot of sacrifice and effort and like showing up, right? But if I truly believe, if you believe that you can do this and then you just show up and do the work, like
mhm,
you're going to be successful.
yeah,
So like to anyone watching that is having a 9 to 5 and they want to get into this, just have the expectation that it's going to be hard, but anything is hard, right?
yeah,
Staying at your job is hard. Starting your own business is going to be hard.
yeah,
Being fit is hard. Being
yeah,
out of shape is hard. So you just need to choose your heart and just do the things that actually are going to make you happy, whatever that means.
yeah,
And as long as you can continuously show up regarding of the feeling that you are having,
Yeah.
and you can stay disciplined, you will have success.
Absolutely, man. I think you have to put in the work. Like when I got into real estate, I was working, I had a career and I had a side business, right? So I had to figure how to fit this into my schedule, plus a family. So it's like I would get up at 5 a.m. I would go to men's prayer. Then after that, work out, right? And then I would work my career till about 3 o'clock. Then I would pick up my son, spend time with my family till about 5:30, 6, have dinner. Then after that, it was like real estate till about like 1 a.m. Right? Like, and that's how I ran my life for a while until I was able to get my first deal. But that's when you get that proof of concept, when you put all the work, right? And then you finally get your first deal and you close on it, that proof of concept changes your life forever. But you're totally right. Mindset is everything. So
Yeah.
what kind of mindset did you have when you like got your first deal? Like talk about that.
Yeah, so in the beginning, when I was doing the solar, I saved a little bit of money, and of course, I paid for mentorship. I'm a firm believer in just investing in knowledge. Like to this
Absolutely.
day, I think I've spent more than 200 grand in coaching the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Because with coaching, you can like fast track your way to success because you get the blueprint, and then you can cut your learning curve in half, right? So I saved a little bit of money, and then for the first flips, like I actually like raised some capital. And then while I was working on those projects is when I was saying that the interest rate, kind of went up. But when I got my first deal that actually closed, it was my third deal. It was I was doing SMS blasting, got an appointment on a little duplex, bought it for 70 and sold it for 140. So made like $70,000 like on my first successful deal, while I was still working on the projects. And that money, as soon as I got it, like I just reinvested into like more coaching, because I kind of figured out, I'm like, okay, if I need to flip and it's going to take a while before I get paid, I need to learn how to wholesale, because I would see everyone wholesaling. So I took the money from the first successful deal and I just invested it into myself. And after that year, which was 2022, and had my first full year of wholesaling, I
Mhm.
mean, we crushed in 2023.
Nice. That's awesome, man. So all right, so you got your first deal was a flip then. You bought it.
It was a
Um
hotel.
it was
Hotel,
a
yeah.
hotel. Okay. Why don't you explain to our listeners what a hotel is?
Okay, so a hotel is basically you can buy a property that's discounted enough, unless like you don't have to wholesale it to someone for like 15, 20 grand. You can actually take on the deal and clean it up a little bit and then just list it on the market. So if you get a good deal, you can use this strategy. That way you don't have to leave money on the table. And if you have enough margin and the deal makes sense, you can buy it and just sell it to a retail buyer for max value. So the property was in okay condition. We're just able to negotiate like a good deal with the sellers and figure out exactly what they needed done and why they were trying to sell it. So yeah, it's when you buy a property at a discount enough and it doesn't need a whole lot of repairs, and then you just list it on the market and then just try to get the highest paying buyer. It doesn't have to be a flipper. It can be a retail buyer as well. You're gonna make more money that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that what a great way to start, right? Because I know people that get their first deal and it's like a full gut flip. That could really make or break you. Like a hotel, basically a lipstick on a pig. You're getting something where you just got to do some paint, update some fixtures, and then put it right back on the market. It's definitely
Hmm.
the way to go.
Yep.
What we choose in our business is only hotel. Like we don't like doing any full guts unless the margins are there, because it gets pricey. So
Yeah.
boom. So you did your first deal, made 70 grand. How did you feel? You got that $70,000 check.
I felt really good because I remember like before I decided to get into real estate, I went to one of those events that Ryan had in Vegas,
Mhm.
and that's when like everyone was crushing in 2021. Like I'm sure you were in the business. I was not in the business in 2021,
Yeah.
but everyone was crushing it. This
Mhm.
was around like December of 2021,
Mhm.
and then I didn't go in until like March, April of 2022. So that kind of sparked, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. But I remember when I was talking to people, I felt like a lot of people were like super cocky that everyone was doing well.
Yeah.
And I remember like asking some people questions, and they would like kind of just shoot me off and stuff.
Mhm.
And that kind of bothered me a little bit. Um, so when I got that first deal, I knew like I knew that I was going to make it work like no matter what. But when it actually like closed, I'm like, okay, I got the proof of concept. I know I can do this, and I know that if I keep investing in myself, like I will continue to do this and get better. So like it was life changing.
No, yeah. I mean, that year was great. I mean, you couldn't hold on to deals. Like we were closing deals in like 8 days, like 8 to 11 days. People like, I got cash, I want to buy it. And it was crazy because it came to a complete stop in 2020. And then people just got real confident between 21 and 22. And then the interest rates, totally changed. Why don't you talk about that? Like so you're new in the game, you got your first deal, you're surrounded by all these entrepreneurs, you're getting all this mentorship, right? You're psyched. I'm about to take over the world. And then boom, you get smacked with interest rates. Talk about that.
You're watching breathe in
deep,
because
deep
looking
sigh.
okay, bro. Looking back, my my worst mistakes have been the greatest blessings in disguise because those first two flips that I bought ended up losing money. But what it taught me was like what it taught me, I feel like I have a PhD in life because just going through that pain. So, whenever you're flipping, you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna sell it for this. But then when the interest rate happened, the hike, the ARV just dropped. So what we thought we were gonna sell it, it ended up like dropping way, less. So when that happened, like everything slowed down. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with this? So in order to like offload those, I have to put up like more money in order to pay off the lenders, pay off everyone. And I think I lost like 100 and some
Mhm,
$1,000 on those like two deals. So like the new revenue that I was making, I had to like put it back on those like bad deals.
mhm,
But the reason why I was saying that it taught me so much was because you learn a lot of things about yourself when things are going wrong, right? So you taste some success, and then this happens, and you're like, okay, I need to change my strategy, right? But I know that over a long time horizon, you just keep on showing up and doing the work. I mean, yeah, like you lose some money, but also like the biggest deal I did made me $145,000. Like, where else can you make this sort of money? Not
yeah,
for real estate.
yeah.
So I know that if you stay consistent and you know how to make money, I mean, those mistakes that you make only make you better as long as you learn from those, and as long as you don't let those little things stop you. Because even right now, like I talk to a ton of people that are struggling. The market is very slow. People are in pain, not just with the retail sellers, but also with people in real estate, and that's why you see a ton of people that are quitting. So I tell them like, hey, as long as you stay consistent
Mhm,
and you actually put in the work, when
mhm.
things get better, you're going to be in a much better spot. And I feel like a lot of people just stay obsessed with the mistakes that they make, and they can never move past that. So something that you got to be able to do is just learn from the mistakes and then just keep going.
Absolutely. You got to roll with the punches. I've been in this business for about 8 years, going on 9 years now. And I've seen it shift so many times. Like I've seen it everything from marketing. I got my first deal to a bandit sign. And for the listeners who don't know what that is, that's a yellow sign that says, "We buy houses fast for cash." And I used to put them up all over the neighborhood with my family in the cold at like 10 p.m., 11 p.m., sometimes like midnight. That's how I got my first deal. Now things
Okay.
are totally different now because everything changes. The market changes. Technology. We didn't have AI. There's so much information that we could grasp. And I'm sure you've taken advantage of this. Why don't we go into like RGV home buyers, right? Let's talk about that because I know you turned it into a marketing machine.
Yep. Yeah. So 2023 is when we started having like really good success. 2023 still was like because we implement innovations like right away around 2023.
Mhm,
And I remember back then, like once I learned how to wholesale, like I paid some other coaches to teach me how to wholesale, like to learn the business, like how to run it like an actual business and not just like hustling, how to hire people, how to reverse engineer your marketing,
mhm,
how to track KPIs, all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
started investing more money on marketing. And I remember in 2023, I would buy paper leads that were like 80 to 100 bucks. And I remember out of 10, we would get a deal, which it was like super easy,
Hmm.
like to do deals and do novations, all that stuff, right? So in 2023, that was like our first full year wholesaling. We were still doing like some hotels and wholesale novations mainly, but that's when everything actually started to get catch more momentum, right? So all of 2023 we started doing really good. I think we did like 35 deals or so, like my first like full year doing this. And then I created like my company. So RGB Home Buyers is just like the doing business as like on my website. Um, and then like we're just focusing here in my local market,
Hmm.
right? Because I felt like a lot of people were not running this like an actual business. But when I
Yeah.
was able to run that and have acquisition people and like actually learn a good sales process and invest in marketing, that's what made all the difference. So 2023 we did really well, and then 2024 the market got a little bit worse. We were still doing good, but it wasn't like I was still not doing all the things that I needed as a founder, right? So one of my worst mistakes besides the flips was it took me 2.5 years to fill out my close KPI sheet where we found out exactly how much the marketing channels were giving us. I
Yeah.
found out that I wasted around 150K last year in marketing channels that gave me like a 1x to 2x. And only one of the marketing channels was giving us like a 4 to 5x on whatever we
Wow.
spent. So I could have put that extra 150K in that marketing channel that was giving us like a 5x, and we could have made like an additional $600,000. And because I was not doing that, I missed out on a lot of money, when it could have been just like way better, right?
Yeah.
And
No,
then
absolutely. Yeah, that just I just want to remind our listeners, KPIs are so important. KPIs gives you a forecast of your business, helps you understand where you're putting your money. You're just not throwing stuff on the wall and hoping it sticks, right? Like you're really able to dedicate where everything is going and what's actually beneficial for your company, right? And I think leadership is a process. Once you start opening a business, you start learning as you go. You start, you trip, you fall, you have barricades, you have hurdles that you got to jump. But once you understand it and you get stronger, every problem that you solve, like your leadership, mentorship is so important for business owners. So if you're stepping into business, make sure that you're getting coached on how to run your company because that's a whole nother animal, right?
100%. Yeah. So
Yeah.
2023 is when I started like hiring people, like lead managers. I was still closing like all the deals and doing the dispo. And then 2024, that's when I hired like my first like closer. And like I was still like in the business a lot.
Hmm.
But then it wasn't until 2025 where it's now like delegated 85%, like the business RGB home buyer. So we have six people in the team. I mean, we run very lean and mean. We just focus on like the net profit on each month. And it took me 3 years to get there.
Hmm.
And I think like a lot of people just miscalculate like how much it's going to take, and they just scale just for the sake of scaling and doing revenue, where in the end like we're never going to sell this business. Like private equity is not going to buy a wholesaling business. So what I tell people that they need to focus on is, okay, how much money do you want to net per month, and what do you need to do in order to put the pieces together to make sure that happens, right? Marketing, team, appointments, offers. You're able to reverse engineer the business that you want if you do it based on the net profit after all the expenses. So that's something that I tell people that needs to be huge. And like I said, like nowadays, I'm lucky that I have a great team,
Yeah.
and almost everything runs without me. I'm only in charge of the marketing and just kind of holding the vision with the team, managing the morning meetings and the weekly meetings to hold them accountable to the goal, and just giving my team the resources and training that they need in order for them to go out there and get deals and make sure that they sell.
That's awesome, man. I feel like you really don't have a business till you're completely or successful business till you're completely removed from it, right? Where it's running on its own and you're spending time with the family or you're out on vacation and you're still closing deals. Now you have a business, right? Now,
Yep.
Did you choose to stay in marketing? You must like the marketing side of the business, correct?
Yeah. Let me tell you when I really focused on this. So 2023, which was our first year wholesaling, I think we did around 800K in revenue. Like we had good profit margins, but I was still not tracking like the marketing. So I know we could have netted way more money. And then that continued into 2024, where I was just like spending money without like being careful of like where the money was going. Like, oh yeah, we get these deals, we make anywhere 80, 100K per month. But then it wasn't until last year, around November, December of 2024, that's when I really like digged into the close KPIs. And I remember I think I had around like 15 like properties listed, like some flips, some wholesales, novations. And after making like all this money, like houses didn't sell for like 1 to 2 months. It was like a weird period with the elections, everything going on last year.
Mhm.
So I'd made all this money and I had like no cash flow. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I've made all this money and have nothing. Like I need to do things right. So when I dove into like all the marketing, like I had other agencies that were running my inbound stuff. Like I was spending money in PPL, direct mail, call calling. I'm like, this is just like way too complex. Like I just need to simplify the business. So I remember like I have this book behind me, Alex Ramos's $100 million leads, and I love this book because he talks about when he figured out how to use Facebook ads. So I had used Facebook ads with outsourced through an agency before, but I would see the ads and I was like, I think I can make this myself. Like I think I can actually learn this. And a lot of what the gurus and coaches tell you is to outsource this. But my point is like, why would you outsource one of the most important levers in the business? If you don't outsource sales, why would you do your marketing as well?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what sparked the idea. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn how to do this myself. I paid one of my friends that worked at Facebook, and then I actually went to the Hermosi workshop around January, and then I went all in into Facebook, running my own ads. So fast forward a couple months later, if our best channel was giving us like a 4 to 5x with Facebook in a short couple months, we were getting more than like a 10, 12x return on our ad spend by me taking control over the marketing and bring it in-house.
Yeah.
So what that did for my business was crazy. And then all the culminations and all the mistakes and me learning about the KPIs and just trying to simplify the business, made me just turn the business into a machine where I know exactly how much money we need to spend to make the money that we want to make. And I got really good at it. So I remember I would post like our cost per lead and cost per deal, and everyone like started like asking me like, hey, how are you doing this? And that's what sparked our licensing business, where we teach the other investors how to take control over their marketing by bringing it in-house so that they can get cheaper cost per deals and make money plugging innovations in any of the markets of the United States. And as long as you have those two things, you can have a business that basically serves you.
Are you tired of feeling stuck, unsure how to break into real estate investing? Or maybe you've done a few deals, but now you're struggling to scale. You've heard the success stories, you've seen other flip houses or wholesaling properties, and maybe you've even tasted some success yourself. But you know there's more potential and you're looking for the next step. I get it. I've been exactly where you are. My name is Marco Cabrera, and I spent years building a real estate investing business from the ground up, starting with little to no experience. Now I'm here to guide you on your journey. Through the Investors Club, I've helped hundreds of people, whether they're just starting out or doing a few deals a month, close more deals, scale their business, and build real, lasting success. In the Investors Club, we follow a clear, proven plan to help you succeed in real estate. Learn the basics. If you're new, you'll start with an easy to follow lesson on wholesaling and house flipping. If you're experienced, we'll help you sharpen your skills and identify ways to grow. With the support of our community and practical tools, you'll start finding more deals, improving your processes, and building real momentum. Whether you're just trying to land your first deal or scaling up to six figures, we'll provide the strategies and support to take you to the next level. Now, the only thing standing between you and success is taking the next step. Join the Investors Club community today. It's free, and you'll get immediate access to online courses, resources, and a network of like minded people ready to help you succeed. And yes, it's free. So imagine having the confidence to spot a good deal, the knowledge to close it, and a network of investors to help grow your business. Whether you're just starting or scaling, the Investors Club will guide you from your first deal to consistent long-term success as an investor. Or you could stay where you are, watching others grow, feeling like you're stuck doing the same deals or missing out on opportunities. It doesn't have to be that way. With the right guidance and support, you can move from stuck to scaling. So take action today. Log on to school.com/investors club. That's school, SKOOL.com/investors club. Let's build your real estate future together, whether you're just starting or ready to level up your game. See you there. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's the beauty of real estate, right? I see it so much when guys start getting into real estate, whether they're starting wholesaler or house flipping. Then they're like, "Hey, I could." Well, let's say they start wholesaling, right? Then like, "Hey, I could flip." Then they start flipping. Then they're like, "Hey, I could buy and hold." Then they start buying and hold. And then they're like, "Hey, I learned marketing. Like, I could start marketing. I could start showing people." And I think when real estate investors and entrepreneurs like have that aha moment, right, and it's working, and they get proof of concept, they just want to share that information, and it just leads to a new business and just a whole new market that you're stepping into. But that's awesome, man. That's great. You saw the vision, and you realize that, hey, if I start a new division within my company, a new department focusing on marketing, you could save instead of paying someone else, and you could just maximize. What if they're not doing the best job and you could do better? But
Exactly.
I do recommend, I do like the fact that delegating, right? Delegating is very important. But when it comes to marketing, marketing is the lifeline of your company, right? So it's got to be taken very serious. If you do hire a company, let's say you hire somebody who's going to run your PPC or your Facebook ads, make sure they're sharing that information and you're actually learning, right? Just don't send it away and be like, send me leads. Like, get involved, understand what's
Yep.
going on. You're spending money on it. You should be getting a course on how to do marketing yourself. And if the company doesn't want to show you that, they might not be the company for you, right? They're trying to hold back the information and keep you on that hook, right?
Yeah.
And that's not abundance, right? Here at the Investors Club, we like to talk about abundance. We like to share information. We want the world to know how to get into real estate investing with the same mindset, kingdom and abundance, right? But that's awesome, man. So why don't we get into lead lift marketing? So you learn how to market. You're a beast now in marketing. Then what?
Yeah. So kind of touching back on your point on like with agencies. I mean, I don't think agencies are that bad. I think you should own the skill instead of like delegating it, because I think you can get a 6 to 7 out of 10 experience with a agency, but you just got to do the work, right?
Yeah,
Because if it's, then you probably have like multiple clients. But you yourself, like I see a lot of people always blame the leads and like, oh, they're not motivated or they're not quality. But getting you the leads in front of the door, just like step one, you actually need to do your sales process and convert them. So before blaming like a marketing agency, really look at yourself and your process to make sure that you can actually like convert those, right?
yeah,
um
yeah. I agree 100% because you can lock in 10 deals, but not closing any. What's the point? Right?
exactly. Yeah.
You're either getting bad deals at not at the right price, or, if the leads and you're losing them, maybe you just don't have the right closer or the right person, lead manager who's actually delegating it. So yeah, that's great. That's gold right there. Do your own due diligence on your own company first before you point fingers at everybody else. Take
Yeah.
responsibility, investors. Take responsibility.
Yeah. And one thing is like you can learn it. I just feel like the gurus say for you not to learn it, that it's way more complex than it is, because I mean, they want to keep you like, in the hook. So you,
Yeah,
you just keep on paying them. So like with the clients that we have, we teach them exactly, okay, what makes a good ad, call out your ideal seller, right? So we teach them how to make video ads that call out specific, angles like
awesome.
foreclosure, divorce, inheritance, a lot of repairs. We teach them exactly how to make the videos, how to make static images, how to launch the campaign, optimize the campaign, how to keep the cost per lead down when you need to make a change, all that, right? So our licensing is basically done with you in the beginning, and then I'm sorry, done for you in the beginning, and then we coach you on what we're doing, because our goal is to get you leads as quick as possible while getting the knowledge, right? So they get a lot of context and videos on how we are doing it. because my goal is to be able to get them like quality leads in the beginning that they can close. And after they get the proof of concept, they can start taking action items to actually take over the account, and they find out exactly what is the best messaging that works in their market, how to run the ads, how to produce high quality leads that are cheap, and so that they actually get the skill transfer so that they don't depend on us or like an agency again. And
Yeah.
this way it's way easier to build a business based on profit because you save money on cost, your conversions are way better, and now you own a skill that's going to make you six figures or more every year, right? So I think the ROI of learning that can be infinite.
Absolutely, that's good. So not only are they getting served, with a pretty much like a roadmap, but you're actually coaching them on how to do it. That's awesome. That's exactly what I was talking about. Now, what inspired you to launch Lead Lift Marketing? Like, was there a certain situation that happened where you're like, I need to do this?
It's funny because I never wanted to be like a coach for like the first 3 years, but I've invested so much in like other coaching. And I think I just like took the best things that I learned from everyone and then learning the marketing and then just did it my own based on how I want to live my life. And like I don't think you need to have a huge business and just focus on like on top line revenue. I
Mhm.
think you can just figure out exactly how much you need to net, whether it's 20K a month, 30K a month, 40K a month, 50K a month. It's very doable with a small team. And real estate is risky enough because one of the biggest bottlenecks of real estate is that you don't really control fulfillment. Meaning, if we put a property under contract, the A to B, in all of the other service-based businesses, that's when they get paid, right? So if you sell a roof, you may get a deposit on that A to B when we contract the property, or you do cleaning, whatever. That's exactly when you get paid, and then all you need to do is just fulfill the service, right? But with us in real estate, once we get the property under contract, we need to do the B2C. So we are arbitraging two services for the same deal in order for us to get paid, right? In which if we don't sell the deal, we make no money. But we already fronted the marketing, we have our expenses, our team. So there's a lot of moving parts on the B2C side, right? You deal with buyers, investors, agents, lenders, title companies, appraisers, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So if you can fine tune your process on the dispo, that's going to be able to get you paid, right? So for us, it's just is okay. I'm trying to simplify it as much as I can, where I know exactly how much I'm spending, what my team needs to do in order to sell these deals, and how can we shorten the gap between whenever we get a deal and we sell it. And we're just trying to rinse and repeat as much as we can, because the goal is, to make net profit, not just like top line revenue.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. There's a lot of gold right there for people to unpack. Now, back to your marketing company. Now, for people who never ran ads before, right? Maybe they're in real estate, maybe they're looking to get into it, and they never did ads. What's the biggest mindset shift that they need to succeed with inbound marketing like yours?
Yeah, one, that they can do it. And then number two, the reason why I love inbound is everyone is on social media. Your sellers are on social media. We just need to find a way to get the attention of the right avatar and the people that we want to talk to, right? Which is someone that is distressed and is actually looking for a solution when it comes to selling their property, right? So if you maybe used an agency or use a paper lead company and you don't like the lead quality, it's usually because the ads that they are running, they're too generic, right? You don't have control over what it is that they're running. So like I was saying earlier, we primarily focus on pain-based ads and a lot of like proof, right? Hey, we help this seller sell in 3 weeks. Our company can buy your property with no commissions, no repairs. You have to do no cleaning, and all you need to do, click on the link down below so we can give you your offer, right? So stuff like that works very well. But what you have to understand is when people fill out a lead form on inbound, they do want to sell. It's just a matter of who they're going to sell to. And what I tell all the clients is they're going to sell to whoever they trust the most. Now, in this market, what I'm telling a lot of the guys that I work with is we have to change our salesman hat and put on a consultant hat. where we actually, our goal is to build as much trust and rapport as possible and go over the expectations, maybe roadblocks, influencers, and really talk about what the seller is trying to accomplish and what we need to do in order to bridge the gap to where they want to go and what we need to do in order to get them there, right? So by just building more trust and really digging into the motivation and the next steps and just being honest with them on how we make money, you're going to have way higher quality conversations. And if they trust you and you build that rapport, you're going to be able to get more deals because most wholesalers just trying to throw out a cash offer, right? But it
Yeah.
doesn't work for every seller.
Yeah.
So if you can gain their trust and build that rapport and you're able to have like a clear and open communication with them where you can even the playing field where they can tell you exactly what their fears are, their motivation, their doubts, and you can address those, you're going to have way higher conversions and close way more deals.
I love that, man. Take off the seller hat, put on the consultant hat. That's good because it's all about building that relationship. Like I tell my acquisitions all the time, when you realize that it's more about the relationship than it is about the actual real estate, you'll start closing a lot more deals. But
Yep.
that's awesome. That's a great way to envision it. Be a consultant, listen to them, hear them, ask the right questions, and get it done. That's awesome, man. Now, what's one simple tweak that somebody can make on their ads or sales funnel that could instantly boost their results?
Yeah, so it's going to come down to angles, right? So Facebook just did a new update. It's called the Andromeda update, where what they're trying to do is just to simplify the ad launch of the advertisers, right? So with this new update, before, like, so whenever you run Facebook ads, you're gonna have a campaign, which is the objective, which is for us to get leads, right? So you get the campaign, you have the ad set, which basically that's when you do all the targeting and locations of where the ads are going to go, and then you're going to get into the ads, right? So you get one, two, three. Now, before you had to have like multiple ad sets depending on if you had like videos on images. And now what Facebook wants is it wants you to compile all the ads that you have into one ad set, right? And what they want you to do is to have ads that are in the different levels of the funnel of awareness, right? So, meaning top of funnel, they are not aware that they have a problem. Middle of funnel, they are aware. And then bottom of funnel, they are actually looking for a solution. So, if you are running ads, you need to have variety when it comes to the ads that are running, right? So you may want to have like a broad approach, like, hey, we buy houses as is, no condition, whether it's like a static image or a video. And then you want to have some pain based where you call out, hey, if you are downsizing and need to sell your house now, I can pay you cash for your house and pay for your fee, something like that.
Mhm.
Or did you inherit a property and you don't know what to do? That would be kind of like middle of funnel. And then bottom of funnel is if you're actually trying to sell your property quick and you don't know who to trust, our company just helped Susie, and here's the review, and here's what she had to say about our process, right? So if you can compile ads that talk about the different levels of awareness within your ad set, that's going to play huge. And if you, as the founder, can be the one on the videos, you're going to be able to create way more trust when the people click on the ad because you can build that trust. And if they like what they see and they like what they hear, whenever they come in, they are already a little bit more warm and they know exactly kind of like how you work. And then you're able to build that trust that with the other channels you basically don't have because they don't get to see you. So if you can do founder style videos and you can have multiple ads within your campaign, that's going to work very well. And I'll leave you with a third nugget is you need to be able to see the breakdown of how your ads are performing on a weekly basis. So Facebook allows you to see like the history of the last 7 days, and you're able to see which of the ads are performing best, which ad copy and which headline, and it's telling you that your audience likes those ads and those ad copies. So all you need to do is create more ads that are similar to those, because if you continuously do that, your cost per lead is going to keep on dropping and you're going to get way better conversions. So like for me, our average cost per lead is anywhere from $30 to $20,
Wow.
and all we need is 20. I did the math a couple of weeks ago. We are at around 23 leads to get one contract, so
Nice.
that's huge. And over the last year, I'm spending less than half in marketing, and we're going to make around the same revenue. And that's all thanks to bringing marketing in-house and really focusing on running the ads based on the conversions, and not just throwing money at the wall.
That's awesome, man. That's some gold right there, listeners. Make sure you write that down, rewind it, right? Engrave it in your minds. Now, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about what's going on behind the scenes, mindset, focus, and growth. Like, what was the hardest part of transitioning from hustler, which most wholesalers and house flippers are, to business owner mode?
That's a really good question, because all the changes, the positive changes you're going to have, are going to happen once you decide to make that change. And for me, and what I see is, you need to go through pain where it actually makes you want to change. So sometimes we know better, but we don't do the stuff. But it's because we don't want it enough, or we haven't hit rock bottom where we actually need to make a change. So I think pain is very important for you to change. But as soon as you make that change, which for me was around 2024, when I was telling you like all the deals that we're not selling, looking at the marketing, it really made me look internally and be like, okay, if I really want to make this work, I need to be a player myself if I want to bring in A players to work for me, right? To work with me. So first is, you need to conceptualize it in your mind to make sure that you actually do the things that are going to be required for you to grow. So it comes to pain, and then just being self-aware of where your mistakes lie and the things that you're not good at, and you need to solve on how you're able to fix those things, right? But it is possible. You see a lot of people that are crushing it, and your job as the founder is, how do you hire people, and how do you train them, and how do you show them what the goal is and what the culture and the mission is, and how do you hold them accountable to make sure that they do the work. Because one of the limited beliefs that I had was, I mean, no one's going to be able to close as good as me.
Hmm.
And the moment that actually started hiring, and I saw them get results, that's kind of when that mindset shift happened.
Hmm.
But you need to be able to do that over and over again. So something that I like to talk about is like, you got to be able to kill your previous self as many times as it takes in order to keep on getting better. So if your current self is not serving you, you got to be able to kill them and rebuild them over and over again until you reach your, whatever your goal is, and you just keep on doing that over and over again until you have success.
That's
So as soon as you make that mindset shift,
mhm.
that's when you're going to experience most of the growth. Because on your own, you can probably get to, a couple six figures, but it's not until you get a team that you're going to be able to push into the seven-figure mark, and get consistent when it comes to the deals closed, and holding the team, leading the team, and all those things.
Yeah, that's good, man. I love that. Get out of your own way, right? Get out of your own way. Number one is what I get from this. Number two, die to self. As a Christian, we die to ourselves every day. You know what I mean? So that's awesome, man. And start rebuilding. Now, what's one belief or lesson that's helped you stay consistent when things get tough? Because in real estate, it does get rough.
Yeah, I think a lot of people quit too early. And I know that if you stay disciplined and consistent, you're going to beat everyone.
Mhm.
Because like nowadays, people are just like too lazy. Like something gets difficult and they quit, or
Yeah.
they're looking for like the easy way out. Where if you truly believe in yourself and you know that you can do this, you can withstand any storm. Because like in the end, if we really look back at our lives, like whenever we're going through something difficult,
Mhm.
like it's always okay. It's always okay. So like, why do you worry so much about the downside when you know what your potential is, right? So don't dwell on the little things, and just keep on moving, right? So when it comes to people, like I was saying, like I love mindset.
Mhm.
Because like if you really believe that you just need to do it and you just keep on doing it, you will like find success one way or another. Like there's no way that you try your hardest for years and you don't win, right? So given that a lot of people are quitting, if you stay committed and consistent, you're going to win.
Yeah, that's good, man. Now, what do you think separates investors who stay stuck from those who actually scale in this business?
Yeah. So number one is going to be that from hustler to being a business owner, right? So what does being a business owner take? Leadership, accountability. Everything is your fault. Like self work and belief. Know what you're good at and not good at. Being
Yeah.
able to be honest with yourself, right? So that'll be number one. From hustler to CEO. Number two, you need to have, in my opinion, a marketing channel that you bring in house. So for us, it's Facebook. So we crush with that. If you can, whether you want to do Facebook or whatever, that you can bring it in house and actually invest the time to learn it, that's going to be huge, right? Because if you know how to get leads, you're always going to have deal flow, right? And that's going to bring me to point number three, which is having a replicable sales process. So if you can invest in sales training where you know exactly everything about the seller psychology, how to set expectations, how to dig for motivation, how to deal with objections, how to deal with potential influencers or deal killers, you got to be able to know exactly how your process is going to talk about objections before they come up. And you always want to let the seller know what's going on, how long the phone calls are going to take, what you're going to go over. You give them permission to say no if they don't like the offer. And you always get them involved all throughout the sales process, right? So, number one, you need to change your mindset from hustler to CEO and what that takes and be able to hold yourself accountable. Number two, invest in a marketing channel that you can control so that you can keep on getting the lead flow. Number three, it's going to come down to a replicable sales process. And then I think number four would be hiring and onboarding your team. How do you attract top talent? How do you train them? How do you give them the resources so that you allow them to succeed, and what you need to do in order to make that happen, right? So if you focus on those four things, and you can lead the team and build the vision and the culture where everyone knows exactly what the goal is, you're going to have success. And that is how you build a business that can run without you.
I love it. I love it, bro. That's some gold. I don't know, man. You might have a book in your future, from hustler to CEO, by award winning author Fidel. Yeah, I like that, man. That's good stuff, man. So let me ask you this a little more personal as we wrap up. So, when everything is said and done, right, what do you want people to remember most about you, about Fidel, and the business that you built?
I think that I'm always progressing because like even with this with the wholesaling business, okay, like you get it up and running and then you're like, okay, there's some things that I can't control. I like where we're at, we're getting the cash flow that we want to keep on getting. How do I continue to grow, right? So which then it evolved into the licensing program with the clients, right? So we're getting them like results now, right? They spending 2 or 3 grand a month on ads, they're making 20, 30K a month, everyone's having success. I had the proof of concept, and now I'm actually getting the proof for the clients. So we just started running that in around April, and now everyone's having success. Uh, but for me, I want to be seen as someone who just like didn't give up and was not complacent.
Mhm.
Um, I just love keep on learning and growing, and I feel it's our duty as humans and Christians, and that's how God wants us to just keep on living life, right? We just need to keep on pushing and progressing and becoming better in all of the areas of our life, right? In our faith, in our relationships, in our business, with our team, friendships. And I just want to be seen as someone who just kept on growing, whether it's my this two businesses or whatever other business I go into that God leads me to. I just want to be able to be the best at it, whatever that means for me.
Amen. That's good stuff, man. And I think that's the best way to lead, right? You keep growing, keep progressing. That becomes attractive to the people who are watching you, the people who are relying on you, right? It makes them level up. Good stuff, my friend. Shout out to Fidel. Thank you for coming on, bro. Why don't you let our listeners know where they can find you, your social media handle, all that good stuff.
Cool. Yeah, so my Instagram is Fidel underscore Guajardo, which is my last name. And then I post 2 to 3 YouTube videos a week. My YouTube is at Fidel underscore Guajardo as well. You should find me, just type Fidel Guajardo Real Estate and you'll find the channel. But yeah, I'm posting a lot of valuable content on there on how I see things and the things that are working for me. So there's a ton of value on there that you can watch for free. And maybe whenever you are ready to learn some ads, you can reach out to me and we'll help you get set up and help you scale.
Absolutely. Good stuff, man. Fidel, thank you again, bro. I know you got a busy schedule running two companies, taking over the world, giving back to the community, and all that good stuff. But thank you for taking out the time and being here and blessing us with this wisdom. All right,
Thank you,
guys,
man.
on to the next show. See you in the next episode.